Right now, you're sitting at 2-1. And you're in a position going up against a Carolina team that's 3-0 that is playing okay. I mean, they're a good team. They got a hell of a defense, a quarterback that has a rebirth that was thrown to the wolves by the New York Jets. You got a Dallas Cowboy team that, as Stephen A. would say, is going to happen. The bottom is going to fall out. That has happened over and over and over and over and over and over as long as we can remember. And so now that you're 2-1 and you got a team in Carolina that a lot of people suspect is not as good as their record, you get ready to play them, and if you fall asleep at the wheel, you're going to crash. And that's the cheese bit, is don't fall to sleep for the okie doke. Stay doing what you're doing, but don't get on your high horse and get all these pats on the back from all these different shows and people saying how great you are, Dak Prescott, what an MVP candidate and all that, and then all of a sudden you lay an egg.
Yeah, I just feel like Dak isn't that kind of player.
But it's not just
I know,
him.
but I hear you. It's everybody on the team. But I love that Dak would send that message to make sure that everybody understands that here's what the standard is, and here's how we're going to get over that hump from everybody waiting for the bottom to fall out.
He's also the leader. So if you have a leader, like the whole I wanted to ask Key because you speak Parcellian. So when the leader sends that message, you think that would help the team. It doesn't ensure anything, but that type of team would be less likely to take it, right? By the way, I like that he said the cheese ain't even that good. It's only 2-1.
I don't even know what I don't know, because I'm not inside the building. I don't know really the reaction. You know, you usually, as you would say, Parcellian, you usually see a team that is off to a nice start. Things start to, all of a sudden, there is you won, take the whole week off type approach. Or we're only going to practice 2 days this week, so you start winning, so you start feeling real good. And then all of a sudden you get bit. And then it's like, well, what happened? Well, we didn't prepare him the way we should have. Well, that's because you started eating the cheese. You started chasing it. You started feeling good about yourself.
So when Dak says the cheese ain't that good, that's not the point. Doesn't matter how good the cheese is. Don't
stay on
take
course. Don't stay on course. What has Lord have mercy, is that English? What have the New England Patriots been doing for so many years? Just one game at a time. That's it. Who's our next opponent? We're moving on. We're moving on from here. I was on with Charlie Weiss and Papa yesterday, former offense coordinator, Notre Dame head coach. I was on their show yesterday, and we were talking about the Patriot game. And whether Bill wins or loses against Tom Brady, what's he going to do the next day? He's going into the office to prepare for the next team, because he's not going to sit up and gloat over beating Tom Brady. He's on to the next.
Well, that's what it seems like the expectation is for the Dallas Cowboys. It's just not to win the NFC East. It's just not to make the playoffs. They want to win it. But here's the beautiful thing about why I think this team is different than teams in the past. You have a leader and you have teammates that actually believe they can win it. Like that's when you see it translate to the field, that makes you think differently about what your chances are.
When they start talking about
first impressions,
it's always the case. We look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is great, great, great. Oh, my God. Even though he's got 9 interceptions, the first thing people are going to say is, wow, did you see the one throw? Oh, my God, he made the one throw. And it's great to hear Matt Rhule acknowledge, Jay, that he sees exactly what Dak Prescott is. He is like a Drew Brees, like a Peyton Manning at the line of scrimmage. If he doesn't say that, nobody else will say it. Now you're going to hear people start saying it every single week.
Dan Graziano actually jumps in the set with us. Dan, when you hear Matt Rhule talk about Dak in that light, do you agree with that? Do you see that potential there?
Yeah, I think it's well-deserved. I think you're seeing a guy, fourth-round pick, overlooked by a lot of people coming out. The first comparison I thought was Russell Wilson, right, who was third-round pick, but he wins a championship early in his career. But you saw a similar progression other than that, a guy that at the beginning was kind of, who's doing everything he was asked to do, but that wasn't as much as he would eventually be asked to do, right? Because at the beginning of Russell Wilson, there was Legion of Boom, there was the run game, et cetera. But as he evolved and grew, he became a guy that can carry a team. And I think that Dak Prescott is in the process of that evolution right now.
I think he's already
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the difference. He's so far ahead because he had to be, because the defense was so bad.
Sure.
You know, it was like he had to do something besides Ezekiel Elliott.
But what Rhule's talking about is a very specific, right, pre-snap thing. He reminds me of Drew Brees and Peyton Manning pre-snap. That is a high compliment, because those are guys that had done it pre-snap at a level that, you know, is as good as anyone ever.
You get, by the way, there might even be another level for Dak, because first there's game manager who's big on third down, rely on the defense, and the coach don't do too much. Then there's a guy who gets better. Then there's a guy where if you give him talent, maybe he can win a Super Bowl, right? Then there's a guy where even if the talent's not great, he can elevate them. Brady eventually reached that level. I think Russell Wilson is there, and we'll see if Dak can eventually get there, but it looks like he's on his way.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.